Is your dog a picky eater? Is it difficult to get your dog to eat enough food, or do you have to maybe change foods often? Actually, there may be a very good reason for that, and you might want to listen to what your dog is trying to tell you, because it might be more than just stubbornness involved. I'm about to show you 3 tips on how to get your dog to love mealtime, even while eating healthy, nutritious food. Though I have to warn you, the 3rd tip might actually make your dog so excited about food that you'll be overwhelmed with love and gratitude from your dog. Hi, I'm Ingunn, the Norwegian Viking behind Viking Dog Girl. I hold a certificate as a pet food nutrition specialist, and every week I'm here to share everything on dog nutrition, dog health, and living the best lifestyle with your dog. And I give it to you the Viking way, which means no sugarcoating and no BS. I just give it to you straight, and I do it all so that you can help your dog be as happy and healthy as possible, potentially even extending your dog's life. Now, dog food manufacturers have some specific tricks up their sleeves to make dog food tasty. Pet food companies have done a great deal of work in the area of palatability enhancement. Basically, they try to find ways to enhance the flavor and also the smell of dog food in order to get dogs to even consider eating the dog food in the first place, of course, and to also make the food so tasty that dog owners think their dogs love the food and therefore they're gonna buy more of it, right? The question is, however, are palatability enhancers really necessary? Or should they be necessary for dogs to even consider eating the food? I mean, are there foods that dogs would eat without any enhancements at all? And in that case, aren't those the foods that dogs should be eating in the first place? According to Small Animal Clinical Nutrition, in general, dogs like fats, sugars, meat ingredients, and digests, which are animal tissues that have been chemically and enzymatically altered. Well, sugar isn't really natural for dogs to eat. I mean, where in the wild would they find sugar, right? And when it comes to fat, they really like animal fat. So basically, when it comes down to real food, dogs just like meat or even fatty meat. And if you think about it, that makes complete sense because that's what dogs are designed to eat as well. Animal products are the most nutrient-dense, bioavailable foods for dogs. And it makes sense that they would enjoy eating the foods that are the healthiest to them as well. Because imagine if they were left to their own devices in nature. Do you really think they would survive in the wild if they preferred to eat foods that are available to them in the wild but that are not the healthiest? And even more so, do you think they would survive in the wild if broccoli, for instance, was the healthiest for them to eat? Or soybean meal, which is highly processed? Or peas or corn or any other common dog food ingredient that's not of animal origin? These foods are not the healthiest for our dogs, and it's not what they find the tastiest either. Dog food manufacturers can make these foods tasty by adding in meat or fat, but does that make it okay for dogs to eat that kind of food? Or are we just tricking our dogs into eating something that's not actually healthy? By the way, if you enjoy these kind of no BS, give it to you straight kind of videos on dog nutrition, dog health and lifestyle, then click the subscribe button and turn on notifications to follow my channel. And remember to follow me on Instagram at Viking Ingunn. Okay, so let's take a look at those 3 tips to help your dog love mealtime. Number 1, add meat to your dog's food. As we just discussed, dogs love meat, and meat is also what they're designed to eat. Meat is nutritious, the nutrients come in the right form, and they're bioavailable, which means that dogs can actually digest and absorb the nutrients. So to help your dog enjoy the food, simply remove some of the food that you're currently feeding. Maybe start with 10% to begin with, and add some tasty meat as a replacement. You can try with chicken meat or beef, for instance, and you can feed it raw or slightly cooked. Just make sure you do not feed any cooked bones to your dog. That's very important. And you should also avoid adding any seasoning to the meat. Dogs are not used to eating a lot of salt or seasoning, so it could make their stomach a bit upset if you were to feed it to your dog. Now, tip number 2 is to avoid feeding other foods or treats. Some people feel so sorry for their dog, seeing their dog not eating the food, so they start feeding more treats and maybe share some of their own food as well with the dog. So if you want your dog to eat the food that you add to your dog's bowl at mealtime, you might want to avoid feeding anything else. Treats can also be made to be super tasty, so your dog might even just prefer treats. And if you share your own food as well, like for instance pizza or ice cream or other types of processed food, those foods may also be tastier than dog food, and your dog may basically be tricking you into feeding those foods instead. So unless the other food that you're feeding your dog is super healthy and nutritious, like for instance meat, you might want to avoid feeding them. Basically, giving your dog no choice but to eat the food in the bowl. It might be a bit difficult at first though, seeing those sad looking puppy eyes looking up at you. You just have to be strong and think that you're doing it for your dog's sake. Your dog's health depends on it, right? It's important for dogs to eat healthy, nutritious food, though if you're feeding dog food, especially dry dog food, you might want to reconsider. Because most dog foods are ultra processed, containing ingredients that are very unnatural for dogs to eat, and they may even contain synthetic nutrients and potentially harmful additives. Dogs may do just fine on dog food for years, though over time it might start wearing them down and their health may start to suffer. And you might not even have any idea that it had to do with the food that you were adding to the bowl every single day. So basically, your dog may actually be trying to tell you something very important by not wanting to eat dog food. Your dog may be trying to tell you that this is not food. It's not what's healthy for that furry body. So tip number 3 is the best of them all, which is to feed a homemade, all-natural, meat-based diet. Why settle for a diet that your dog basically has to be tricked into eating if you can instead feed something that your dog will absolutely love and at the same time is highly nutritious, all natural and healthy, right? Now, some people make feeding this type of diet to their dog way too complicated, using calculators and adding in 20 plus ingredients, of which most of them are totally unnecessary. On the other hand, feeding a highly nutritious and healthy homemade diet can be quite simple and even take as little as 5 minutes on a day-to-day basis if you follow just some simple steps. It's very important, however, to do this correctly. Dogs need nutrient-dense, bioavailable, real food, and there are other important factors to take into consideration as well. Like for instance, avoiding feeding cooked bones to your dog, just to name one. So make sure you do it correctly, and if you do, you may even see some amazing health benefits in your dog. Now, if you think your dog deserves to eat such healthy, nutritious food, then you should definitely check out the Viking Dog Diet System. This system is based on science and it shows you step by step how to feed a nutrient-dense, real food, homemade diet to your dog, including meal examples and how to transition your dog. It's a simple yet powerful approach that can have so many health benefits, possibly even extend your dog's life by years. Seriously. Check it out now and find out how you can get started on the Viking Dog Diet System by visiting vikingdogdiet.com right now. Remember, the real unprocessed and natural foods that our dogs love are also the most nutrient-dense and nutritious foods, namely animal foods. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if so, then give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Best of luck to you and your dog, and hopefully your dog will love the new food. Let me know in the comments, okay? I'll see you next time. Bye.